when these go up for votes, it's almost as if you're comparing apples and oranges because you have so much movement in this one. You have a portrait, which is still life in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, welcome back to Talk Parlor number 13, the podcast where we discuss our last week's Flash Challenge. I'm Adam.
And I'm Jordan.
I guess we'll jump right into it. What was last week's Flash Challenge, Jordan?
Last week we had to do a monster in Impressionism using Micron ink pens and only the colors blue, black, white, orange, and cyan.
It was a tough one.
Yeah, it was a tough one, but it was probably one of my favorite challenges yet.
I guess, how did you feel when we were rolling the dice? I mean, when they were hitting, I mean, what was your overall initial feelings?
So whenever we got monster, very cool. The colors I was a little bit worried about, and then I was super worried whenever we got to Impressionism. I had no idea how I was going to make that work, and it kind of just all relied on what the medium was going to say next. And the fact that it came down to ink pens put a little bit of fear in me. I had no idea how we were going to make this look like Impressionism using ink pens. You know, this would have been a great time to have acrylic paint. But we made it work, and I really I'm so impressed with what we hashed out with.
Well, I know that when we were rolling, and we always start with style, and it landed on monster, and I was like,
for the subject matter.
I'm sorry. We always start on subject matter, and it landed on monster, and I was like, okay, that's doable. I like that.
Right.
And then we roll for our color palette next, and we got the
random 3.
The random 3,
mm-hmm.
Which then that immediately opens up to where we have to roll for 3 colors.
Exactly.
And we put it in on a piece of paper, and we rolled for 3 colors using
the D8s.
Mm-hmm. And we ended up with the orange, the cyan, and blue.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm almost getting lost at this point in thought.
Right.
And I'm really, even at this point, we haven't got to style and we hadn't got to medium yet. And I'm already like freaking out. And when we rolled for style, Impressionism, I, again, being so long out of art, had forgot what Impressionism is. So then a quick Google search enlightened me to how much I remember of Impressionism and how much I disliked it, because it happened to be one of the very few places in art that I just wasn't great at. And so then, you follow that up with our medium of ink pen, and I'm just like...
It was like, how are we going to make this work? How do we make this happen?
Yeah, I mean, I was just confused beyond all belief. I mean, I was truly just in a state of confusion. Like, I just don't understand how I am personally going to make this work. I felt like Jordan was going to pull through in the end, and once she figured it out, I knew she was going to take off like a freaking rocket ship.
Well, I got it done so early that week because, remember, we were talking on the phone about like what to do and stuff, and I was going through just Google images of Impressionism paintings, just trying to find inspiration somewhere. And I saw a painting of a ship in the ocean. And, it was very stormy weather, and this ship is rocking back and forth in the waves. And I loved that. And instantly I went to sea monster. And I just knew that I could make that work, And so I really just took off with that concept. I fell in love with it. I had no clue that I would have such a fun time drawing this, and it was just I am personally like so thankful for this challenge because it really unlocked a whole new creative side of me. Yeah.
Well, I am on the reverse side of that. I got stuck in just this Man, I was just a rut. I mean, I had talked to you about it on the phone, and I'm just
Yeah.
like literally, I'm sitting here still trying to brainstorm and figure out what I'm gonna do. And Jordan's like, "Dude, I'm loving this."
Yeah.
I'm like, it's like Sunday afternoon,
I know.
or I think it was earlier than that. I'm sorry, it was like
Yeah.
it was like Thursday morning, Thursday
Right.
afternoon,
Yeah.
and she's like, "I'm freaking loving this. This is awesome." And I'm like,
Yeah, I wasn't even gonna actually start then, and I just kind of started sketching stuff on paper and was like, oh man, this
and
is coming
that's
together.
what's cool is when
Yeah.
you can just put something on paper, and I mean, it almost
It
puts itself on paper.
right, right, exactly. Like it just kind of started to take off,
Yeah. Yeah,
It was cool.
that's what's cool is when you can put something on paper, or you just start putting it on paper, and the next thing you know, it's just, I mean, it's just
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, it was like
You
just
know, 15,
vomiting.
20 minutes later, it's there, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay,
It's
this
like,
is
ooh,
cool. Yeah.
yeah,
Meanwhile,
yeah.
Adam is still in the
Well, right.
struggling to figure out what he wants to do phase,
Mm-hmm.
and I would say it was probably what, Saturday night for sure.
I think it was later than that. I think it was later than that.
Well, I know I finished Sunday night.
Oh, did you?
I did finish Sunday night.
Okay.
However, it was late Saturday. Now, I
Mhm.
was struggling between, when I was doing my research, it was okay, what kind of monster do I want to do?
Yeah.
And I had kind of went down a little bit of a rabbit hole of just trying to make up this weird monster thing.
Yeah, you were
And
going like the sleep paralysis
yeah,
route, which I thought was really, really cool. But then whenever it comes down to it, sleep paralysis, impressionism, there's not a whole lot.
there's no
It's
jump off point to one to the other.
yeah, like there can be, but it's kind of like just how do you get that,
Yeah.
Because you
It's more whimsical too. I mean, it's more dreamy. That's
yeah,
I
it's
think
more
that's the difference.
surrealistic,
I think that's the difference is when you think of sleep paralysis, because it's something I've experienced before.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you've said you've experienced
Yeah.
it before. It's something of your dreams. I mean, in the simplest terms, the way I can explain it. I'm sure there's
Mm-hmm.
a better medical explanation for it, but to me it's something of your dreams, so therefore you have this dreamy concept of a monster, and that really doesn't blend well to impressionism.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Whenever you had sent me a couple photos on like what you had out, and what I loved that you had was you had that hand reaching out towards you. And I loved that you can tell that that hand was in front and was coming at you, and that this monster was all behind it. And I thought that was very, very cool, but I totally caught your vibe on yeah, yeah, how there's something else that you could come up with, Adam, that would really sell it for you.
Yeah, so then I got to thinking, I was like, okay, let's go back to childhood. Who was my favorite monster growing up? And that was, lo and behold, Frankenstein.
Yeah.
I was a Frankenstein freaking fanatic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was Frankenstein for several Halloweens, and it was just always something that I enjoyed. Loved watching the monsters and stuff on
Mm-hmm.
TV. You know, um, just everything about it. So that's kind of where I landed, and then that brought up a whole nother set of struggles of how did I want to portray Frankenstein
Yeah.
and still be able to pull off the impressionist style background, the impressionist style, foreground, middle
Mm-hmm.
ground, all that stuff.
I really love it because it reminds me of the Vincent van Gogh paintings of his self-portraits.
Yeah,
I like that part a
which
lot.
I really wasn't even going for that.
Mm-hmm.
It was just one of those things that I finally, after all the research, had sat down and realized, okay, I want to do Frankenstein. I knew at this point Jordan was doing this ocean or seascape with this monster, and I just wanted to dial it back and do something more portrait
Yeah.
style.
Yeah.
And I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. I loved that we had like two totally different things.
We did.
You know?
However, with that being said, we learned something valuable on this challenge, and that was something that we were addressing in our challenges, is that it's almost, when these go up for votes, it's almost as if you're comparing apples and oranges, because you have so much movement in this one, and you have a portrait, which is still life, in this one, and you're asking people to pick their the best one that they like the most.
Right.
Well, okay, which one do they like the most can be different at different times.
Yeah.
Because, you know, for movement, they may like that one the most.
Yeah.
But they may love this as a portrait.
Right. And then a couple comments were, since Halloween is coming up, I choose Frankenstein.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a situation of where we learned that we need to really bring in our challenges and be more apples to apples and not apples to oranges.
Yeah.
So that's something you're going to see in the near future, is a lot of our challenges are going to start coming. We're going to start reeling them in and be doing something that is comparable. So it's not so far.
So we would both do a sea monster. We would both do Frankenstein. We would both do yada yada yada.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, you know, and we're still learning. You know, we're still trying to understand people. We understand our audience, and you know, the more we understand and the more we learn, then the more we can curtail this to making it a fair, no, I don't want to say a fair competition, but making it
for the Flash Challenge itself. You know, we're both doing the same thing, not just the same subject matter, but we're both doing the same monster. We're both doing the same everything. You know, who did it better? You know, kind of like the who wore it better.
Right.
You know, yeah, who wore it better? You know.
Yeah.
Who executed this? Whose monster is more readable? Where, you know, what if I did a Frankenstein and it's like, that doesn't look like Frankenstein. That looks just like a male portrait.
Right.
When yours looks like Frankenstein, you look at that and you know exactly who it is as soon as you see it.
So would you say you pretty much summed up your design phase, or was there anything else that you?
Well, yeah. So for my design phase, yes, I looked online, and I guess that we could put that as like my research, was looking online for the inspiration. Now for my design, I really just had a great time with the ship, of all things in this. The monster was very, very cool. But once I got the ship on there, and I had the monster coming up here on the right side of it, and I wanted to tie in Sea Monster and also the Kraken, and so that's why I did the tentacles coming up and wanting to overtake the ship. And one thing that I also really fell in love with this was the water and the ocean scene. Like we've mentioned before, you can go on our Facebook account and at Parlor number 13 by J&A, and you can view all of our art projects thus far, and you can really zoom in and see what we're talking about here. But on my drawing, the waves crashing in front of the ship, I just love so much, and I feel like it really sold the chaos that is happening within this drawing. Another thing that I really loved that I did was my sky. I essentially was going to do blue and orange all the way up to my moon or sun, kind of just whatever's going on up here. It reads to me as a sunset. And I was going to do blue and orange, but as I got closer and closer to my top left, I really liked having those white spaces in there, and I felt like it added a more swirl effect. And that kind of is it for my design phase. I really just went crazy with it, and I loved it so much. If I could change something, I think I would try to add more movement in my monster itself, just the sea monster portion. Because I feel like it's where I started, so I feel like the rest of it reads as Impressionism a lot better than the sea monster does. Yeah, and so That's all I would change, really. I am so in love with everything else with it.
Well, I feel like I kind of in my research, I filled in my design phase. Once I realized what I was going to do, and it was just really a matter of just mapping him out on paper. I knew I wanted him, the full. I wanted him to cover as much of the paper as I could get.
Yeah.
I felt like that was. I wanted it to be almost like your school photos when you were back in school.
Yeah.
On picture day. When you get that, it's
It's big.
It's big.
Yeah.
It's you take up the majority of the frame.
Yeah.
And I knew I wanted that.
So with this being Impressionism, how did you capture movement by using the ink pens?
Well, let's start back to I can jump forward to a challenge.
Yeah.
And it was one that I created on my own unknowingly, and that was I didn't have an orange pen, I didn't have a blue pen, and I didn't have a cyan pen. So I immediately jumped online. I ordered pens. Well, when I ordered the pens, I failed to look at what size the pen was.
Oh, yeah.
So when I ordered pens, I ordered a .005 pen size. And I ordered an assortment, so I had, plenty of colors to work with, without the knowledge of that they were a .005. Now, most everybody is familiar with mechanical pencils, and I want you to keep this in mind when you think about this. A traditional mechanical pencil is a .05. Okay, you have a .07 and a .05. These were .005.
Yeah. Did you ever write sentences whenever you were a kid?
Sometimes.
Did you ever take the pencils and tape them together where there's two of them?
Oh, I never.
And you
did
could
that.
write two sentences at one time?
No, I never.
I wonder if that could have worked. If you took your pens,
probably
taped them together.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it was a major oversight on my part, because I would have never, if I had it all over to do again, I would definitely pay attention to the size of the pen tip, because it was absolutely miserable trying to fill this entire thing in with a .005.
What kind of pens did you use?
Micron pens, or something like a Micron pen.
Yeah.
And then I still ended up having to go to the art store and get a cyan pen, because the cyan that was in my pack was not close to cyan.
It was green. It was so
very green. Yeah. And so it was just, for me, this whole thing was an absolute struggle from start to finish. And some of it was on myself. Some of it was just being in that funk of not being able to figure out what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I mean, this was one I struggled with a lot.
And we have lots of those.
It was definitely not like the last challenge, where, it just puked itself on the paper. But did I enjoy it? I was about halfway through his face when I really just kind of got in the groove and was like, okay, I kind of see where this is going, And once I got down through his face, I was sitting there watching football, and I was just kind of, I was down in here, and I'm like, man, this is actually going pretty nice.
Yeah, it looks great.
And I just cranked it out. I got to his jacket, and
the jacket is my favorite part.
Mine too.
Yeah.
I fell in love with the jacket when I was doing it. It was amazing. It just kind of, like I said, it just fell onto paper. The background was not my favorite. I knew I wanted to be in on him with a color similar to his face, and then work my way out to the black, kind of like, Vincent van Gogh did in the Starry Nights painting. That was kind of my inspiration for my background.
That's cool.
And because it's like you said earlier, it's all about the swirls, and being able to show movement. And that was something we talked a lot about was movement. You want to show movement. Well, being a portrait, I can't show movement within him.
Right, but you totally did.
I did. It was wild.
Especially in the jacket.
Yeah.
I think that those 005 pens were kind of a blessing in disguise for you, because you made it work. You hashed it out, and you really, really made it work.
Yeah, it's a possibility. I just, boy, I struggled with it.
Yeah.
And I wish I would have, when I was on his forehead, of course, that's where I started, was his hair and his forehead. I was still playing around with the color palette a little bit, and these were all orange and light orange spots, and they were just so in your face.
Right. Almost like thermal images.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't know if I like that or not.
I feel like
And
it really works.
I was really trying to highlight this part of his face because, this part's obviously further away from the camera.
Mhm.
This is closer to the camera, so we want to highlight this area right through here and then let it fade out through here and likewise fade out towards the back. Well, the issue with that was, like I said, I had the orangey yellow color, whatever you want to call it, in there. And then I went over it with the cyan, and I'm like, well, that really toned it back. But then, when I get down here, I'm like, oh, I should have left it the color it was.
Yeah.
I mean, should have been something I should have, and that's something I learned from this.
Yeah.
Is when you're doing something like this, once it's on paper, whether you like the way it looks or not at that point in time, leave it.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you get finished, it may be exactly what you want. If it's not, you can always go back over and change it.
Right.
But to change it in the beginning and then get to the end and realize I made a mistake, I should have left it the way it was, and just moved on. But I didn't. I went over it with the cyan, and it turned into this green color, which it's okay. It's just not as poppy as the rest of it.
It's not the focal point of anything, though.
No,
like you kind of notice it, but it's just there,
right?
And
right.
I think that's its saving grace, know. Yeah.
So, the jacket, like I said, the jacket is obviously by far my favorite. Dislikes. I mean, through the whole process, I disliked it. Absolutely disliked it. Towards the end, and even right now looking at it, there's really not much that I do dislike about it.
Right, exactly.
I really do like it.
I think that the pens really hindered your ability to thoroughly enjoy this challenge, Right,
because, it took me freaking say it took me forever. Reality.
But it was a lot of...
Right.
With the pens.
Oh yeah. It was painstaking.
Extremely tedious.
Extremely tedious. By far the most tedious challenge we've had to this point, I would have to say.
Yeah.
Just because, like I said, it was the overall nature of the challenge. There's nothing more I can say to that. It's just, that's what that's what Impressionism is. And when you're trying to pull it off with an ink pen, you only got so many options.
Yeah, definitely.
And, a bigger tip on an ink pen would have made a lot of difference.
Yeah.
But like you said, maybe I wouldn't have got the same effect.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So maybe it was for the better.
Yeah.
As far as, I will have to say this. The water,
I love it,
is amazing.
Thank you.
The movement that you captured in the water.
And I've always had such a hard time drawing or painting water. So I was really nervous to do this ocean scene. It was really out of my comfort zone. I
don't know why. You nailed it. That water up against that ship.
I love that.
Where you strategically placed the white.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I seen it, I was like, wow. Amazing.
I love it so much. And I feel like the bits of the white splatter from the water is really what pushes the Impressionism in this,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I like the rest of the waves, but the water up against the ship and up against his tentacles.
Yeah.
It makes it look like his tentacles are coming up out of the water.
Yeah.
It makes it look like the ship is running right into the white cap of a wave. And when you told me that's what you were doing, that was one of my only suggestions, was make sure you white cap the waves. Because in the ocean, that's what sells it.
That's what
sells it. Yeah. If you would have left the white out, I think it'd have been a totally different
It would have
picture.
been a disaster if it did not have the movement with the white caps. It would have been completely different. It just wouldn't have looked the same. It wouldn't have looked as aggressive either, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. For dislikes for mine and challenges for mine, I could definitely say that the ship was one. Because I didn't want it
Challenge or dislike or both?
challenge and kind of a dislike
Really?
before.
Oh,
Okay, this is coloring in the ship. Okay, not drawing it.
Okay.
Drawing it, loved. But then whenever I got to coloring it, I was like, oh man, how am I going to do this? Because I don't want to do it all orange, and I don't want to do it all black. I don't want to do it all white, and I kind of want to do the orange and black to give the illusion that it's brown. So I just started going in with black in a lot of the areas, and kind of just pushed those shapes that are there for it, without drawing fine lines and stuff.
Well, and what's crazy, I don't mean to interrupt you, but what is absolutely freaking crazy about this is the way the ship has texture of wood.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it carries the Impressionist style, but it almost has texture like wood, and you can see almost each individual plank of wood.
I know, yeah. And that was just by going in through those areas and just adding a few more, dashes. We can just call them dashes, of that movement in that direction that I felt like the planks would go. And I feel like what really sells it is the front of my ship here. What's that called? The bow? The stern. Is it the stern?
It's the bow. Bow is the front, stern is the rear.
Okay, my bow here, my bow. I feel like what really sells it is the shading that is around my bow and how I just brought it out. And I have the direction of the bow from the bottom of the ship going up, and then outside of that, I have the planks leading in their appropriate directions. And I feel like that's what really, really sold it for the ship. And not everything is just in one direction with the movement. Everything is flowing in the way that it should.
Now, let me ask you a question. Jumping away from the ship back to the water.
Okay.
What kind of ink pen did you use? Was it just a typical ballpoint pen?
Yeah, it was just a blue big ballpoint pen.
Okay. See, and that is a big difference too, because I feel like with the ballpoint pens, you can get those gradients of blue. Yeah. Meaning you can go in and push something heavy in one area and then lighten it up in another area.
Right. And I tried to get that effect through here. But honestly, like, I kind of struggled with that.
Really? Because I feel like if you turn it around towards the camera, I feel like the way you really pack the blue in on the inside of the waves, and then it just gets lighter towards the bottom of the wave.
Let me see.
In the swell of the wave.
On that top, so like that part right there, that's ballpoint blue pen. The dark blue through here, that's blue Micron.
Okay. Okay. So
like that part right there is kind of a good example. So I have the blue Micron, and then I have my cyan. And my cyan pen was just a pen that I just so happened to have. Right. Which was nice, just a regular ink pen as well. Right. The only Micron pen that I used for this was my black pen and the blue Micron pen that I got. And then the orange pens, I have so many orange ballpoint pens now. A case of just cheap ballpoint pens that are orange. So
did you order those specifically for this challenge?
Yeah, yeah. Because I wasn't sure if I wanted Micron, because Microns are so cool, but they're also so dark.
Well, and I will say this about Microns: there is no ability to get any gradient whatsoever.
See, that's what I was afraid of.
Because it's almost like a felt tip pen.
Yeah.
Okay. And there is, in my opinion, no like with a ballpoint pen, you can put a mark on the paper and you can start heavy-handed on one side and you can string it out. Yep. You can lift your hand as you go, and that line is going to go from a heavy, deep, dark line out to this light gradient, and there's going to be a gradient from dark to light throughout that entire line.
And maybe there's a way to do it with Micron pens. I just haven't found that out yet.
I didn't figure it out. That's all mine's done with. my gradients that I had to get were just by using different shades.
Yeah.
Or similar shades that I
Mhm.
could work my way out,
Yeah.
because there is none of that. That's what I was saying, is you got the deeper blue with the ballpoint, and you're able to just flip it out, flip it out, flip it out, flip it
Yeah.
out, flip it out.
I love the orange in the water also.
Yeah.
I really like that part.
So, overall, like I said, I didn't in the beginning, I wasn't a fan of it.
Mhm.
When I finished, I felt like I had a pretty solid piece.
Yeah.
I just feel like we kind of messed up on, and you had mentioned it after it was all said and done.
That we should have done the same
that
monster.
we should have done the same monster.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I think
I thought about the fish challenge, how we both did a goldfish. We both had the same fish for people to judge.
Mhm.
We did different styles of goldfish, but we both did a goldfish, because what if you did a dolphin and, I did a bass, you know what I mean?
right. And the challenge with the tattoo machine, it was both tattoo machines.
Right.
How we come to the realistic part of it was up to us.
And there's no favoritism of, well, I like sea monsters better, or I like Frankenstein better. It's okay, they're both the same.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think, like I said, that was something that we learned on this challenge, because we really hadn't encountered that up to this point.
Right.
And if we did, we adjusted it unknowingly at the time.
Yeah.
Whereas in this particular situation, we just kind of left it to each other's imaginations.
Yeah.
And we wound up, in the end, realizing that, okay, we should have done something different as far as
just to prevent, a biased community whenever it comes to the voting process.
But that's going to be corrected in the future for the most part. I'm sure we'll have a couple challenges here and there that we might mishap on, but it's a work in progress. And that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
It's a work in progress. It's a learning and growing experience. Medium challenges, did we pretty much cover everything?
I think we've pretty much covered everything.
Got any other likes, dislikes?
I really like my monster's eye as well. And also, I will say that doing Adam, what are these called?
The sail?
The sail, yes. Doing the sail, I was really worried whenever I started that, because I wasn't sure how I was going to do it and make it look like Impressionism and make it look like a sail.
I think you nailed it.
So, I was really happy with how I was able to do it. I left a lot of white space and, darkened them up at the bottom, kind of threw in some orange reflection in the middle, kept it light up at the top. The other one, you can tell, is completely in distress. That thing's being taken over by the sea monster. But
did you think about adding little people to it at all?
I did, but I really felt like it would take away from it, I don't
even know how you would go about doing it. I was just curious, I'm like, where's the little people? I'm sitting here thinking,
I thought about that, but it's like,
where's your
look
pirate?
At what's going on. I don't think that anybody in their right mind would be standing, at the edge, Rose Dawson trying to look over and see the water,
Well, what about Blackbeard himself?
Right, yeah.
Right.
Come and get me. Yeah, I thought about that and I was like, no, they're all down. They've all lost their balance.
I agree. Yeah. I love it the way it is. I really do.
I like it a lot.
Likes, dislikes to finish up on mine. I have very little I dislike about it, other than I wish I would have left the orange in on the forehead, which was, again, a total shock to me that I would have even liked it after the whole process.
Yeah. I think we've covered pretty much everything here. Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add, or?
I don't believe so.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, guys, get on Facebook, Parlor number 13 by J&A, as well as Instagram. We haven't got TikTok up yet. I know we're posting stuff on Instagram. Obviously, YouTube at Talk Parlor number 13. You can also find us on all your favorite podcast platforms. And just don't forget to subscribe, like, comment with your thoughts. And make sure that you check in every Wednesday to vote at 5 o'clock and choose your favorite artwork if you're not too familiar with art. Other than that, keep the creativity flowing. Let your inspiration soar. Together, we create, we inspire, and we transform art into a journey.
Yeah, we do.
See you all at the next challenge. And wherever you're at,
Get home safe.